Hello and welcome to the garden. Well, I'm pretty excited today because I'm going to get my first harvest of Cima de rapa from the cold frames. So Cima de rapa is also known as rapini, broccoli, raab, sprouting turnip tops and so on. It's a brassica that is grown much like broccoli for the flower head, and in a similar way you want to take that before the flowers open. After that you can still eat it, but the quality goes downhill. Now, varieties of Cima de rapa vary in terms of time to maturity. So earlier in the year I made a somewhat speculative sowing, because it was still very early, of a fast maturing variety, because I need these cold frames for the melons, and they're going to want to go in there in, say, a week or two. Certainly not much more than 2 weeks time. So that has to be out of here pretty soon. Now, the slower maturing sorts, they produce much bigger plants and as a consequence much larger heads. The fast maturing varieties, well, by the time it starts to put on the flower, the plant is still pretty small, so it can only produce a fairly small flower head. So with one of the slower growing plants, you might decide that you only want to take the flower head, but with the smaller ones like these, I think it's best to take the whole thing, the leaves, the stalks and the flower heads. They're all good to eat. So I'm going to harvest entire plants from here, and I've probably got a week or two to get rid of this before the flowers start to come out. It is ever so quick to bolt, and the temperatures are warming up. These are really going for it now, and they're at the peak point, and I think I will pick the most mature ones each time, and I've got a week, maybe two at the most, to get these eaten. And to be honest, that's not a hardship. So this is the young flower head. In fact, there are several sort of florets here, but these are already showing signs of swelling up, so it won't be long before these open. So all of those that are like this, I'm just going to take out, and the entirety of this plant is good to eat. I'll probably trim that stem there, but the stem is ever so tender, the heads are delicious and the leaves are great. So I'm just going to go through and pick out the most mature of these. And that way I'll try and eke out the harvest over the next week or two. So these are just fantastic. Has a slightly bitter taste, but it's really wonderful, sautéed with olive oil, garlic, bit of chili, possibly some anchovy. Yeah, this is delicious stuff. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend sowing Cima de rapa right now. I think it's probably best to wait and sow later in the year for cropping when it's a bit cooler. I think maybe sowing now, it would probably run to seed pretty quickly as temperatures ramp up. But this was a particularly early sowing, so that's why we're getting away with it. Hopefully I'll find some space to grow some more Cima de rapa later in the year. But that's all for this video. Thanks very much for watching, and bye for now.